Japanese horror narration series in English follow. 3. The festival that no one leaves. A rural festival where the villagers never grow old and outsiders never leave. The second bell. A school's forgotten bell tower chimes only once AE. You're always followed by a death. The room that dreams of you. A ryokan room that shows guests their worst memory until they never wake up. The puppet with human eyes. An old bunraku puppet, rumored to blink and remember its last master's death. Episode 1. The Festival That No One Leaves. Narration script, Episode 1. There's a village in the mountains of Nagano that doesn't appear on maps. Locals speak of it in hushed tones. They call it Yorihina, the night blossom, and they say it has a festival, one that never ends. I was a travel photographer, always seeking forgotten places. So when a form mentioned a hidden festival with masked dancers, I had to find it. After days of hiking, I arrived. Yorihana was small, maybe 40 people, yet the village felt strangely full. Everyone smiled. Everyone wore white yukata. They welcomed me as if they'd been expecting me. The festival began at dusk. Lanterns floated in the air without strings. Music came from nowhere. Masked dancers moved in perfect synchrony. Their masks white foxes, weeping women. Old men with stitched mouths never came off. And no one aged. I noticed it. The children were the same the next night. The old woman in the garden never blinked. I stayed one night, then one more, then 3. I kept trying to leave. The roads twisted, the trees rearranged. Every path led me back to the shrine, where they waited, smiling. On the 6th night, I refused to join the festival. I locked myself in the guest house. At midnight, the drums began, louder, angrier, and the voices outside started calling my name. They said, "You danced with us. Now you belong to us." I ran into the woods. Something followed me. A dancer with a cracked mask. I tripped. When I looked up, he whispered, "You have to bring someone back. Then you can leave." When I woke, I was in Tokyo. Weeks had passed. I checked my camera. All the photos from Yorihana were gone. Except one, a group photo. Villagers smiling in a row. At the end of the line was me, wearing a mask. I think I left something there. Or maybe I never really came back. Episode 2, The Second Bell. Narration script, Episode 2. Most school bells ring once, but in my hometown, there was a second bell no one was supposed to hear. It was an old rural school in Saitama, a single building, 3 floors, and a bell tower that hadn't been used in decades. They said it rang only once a year, on its own, at exactly 2:44 Pierce, May, on November 3rd. No one ever saw it ring. No one ever admitted to hearing it. But every year, someone died. I didn't believe it. Until my final year, our best friend Yuto dared us to record the tower on November 3rd. We set up a camera. Class ended early for the local festival. We climbed to the 3rd floor, aimed it at the tower, and waited. M came. No sound. But when we reviewed the footage, there it was. The bell didn't swing, but its shadow did. And in the window reflection, a figure in a school uniform was pulling the rope. Yuto's uniform. We laughed. Thought it was a trick. But the next morning, Yuto didn't come to school. They found him in the music room. No wounds, just his hands clasped like he was praying, eyes wide open, and beside him, a school bell rope. After the funeral, I found something chilling. Yuto's notebook. He'd written, "I saw myself up there. I was already dead. The bell doesn't call death. It calls currency to replace it. Now, every November 3rd, I leave town. I turn off my phone. I block out the time. But this year, I forgot. At 2:44 my phone chimed. A calendar notification I never set. Your turn to ring. I looked out the window, and there, in the reflection of a building across the street, was the bell tower, even though it was torn down 10 years ago. And at the top, a figure in my school uniform. I don't know what happens next, but I've started hearing a sound. Every afternoon, just faint enough. Ding, ding, like a second bell. Getting closer. Episode 3. The Room That Dreams of You. Narration, script, Episode 3. Some rooms help you rest. Others don't let you wake up. I was exhausted from work. A colleague recommended a secluded ryokan in the mountains of Totori. No internet, no cell service, just mist, trees, and hot spring silence. Perfect. The owner greeted me kindly, and after a quick dinner, I was shown to my room 203, old tatami, paper lanterns, a futon already laid out. I fell asleep quickly. That's when it began. In the dream, I stood in the hallway of my childhood home. Everything was dark. My parents' room was open, but instead of a bed, there was a coffin. Inside it was me, eyes open, smiling. I jolted awake, cold sweat, but the room was quiet. Still, something felt wrong. The mirror above the sink was fogged, even though the window was open. I wiped it. Written in the steam were 5 words. You dream too deep again. The next night, the dreams grew longer. I relived my worst memories, saying goodbye to my grandmother, failing to save a friend, watching someone drown. But this time, the people in the dreams turned to me and whispered, "This isn't your memory." By the 3rd night, I didn't sleep, but the room did. I heard breathing under the tatami. The futon shifted on its own. The scroll on the wall changed from "Jing silence" to "Miteiru watching." I confronted the owner. She looked at me for a long time and said, "Some rooms are old enough to have dreams. Room 203 dreams of its guests, and sometimes it dreams too deeply." She offered to move me, but when we opened the door to room 203 again, the room was empty. No tatami, no futon, just a black void, and a faint outline of someone still lying there. It looked like me. I left that night, but the dreams didn't. Now, I sometimes wake in unfamiliar places, on train platforms, in hotel lobbies, in my car, and always someone nearby whispers, "You're not out yet." I think the room still has me. And this, all of this, might just be its dream. If you ever stay at a ryokan and the staff says, "We've prepared room 203, don't thank them. Don't unpack. Just leave." Episode 4. The Puppet with Human Eyes. Narration script, Episode 4. Puppets are meant to be controlled. But what if one remembers when it was alive? My grandfather was a traditional puppeteer in Osaka. He specialized in bunraku, refined, eerie form of Japanese puppet theater. After he passed away, I inherited his storage shed. It smelled of dust and camellia oil. Dozens of puppets were wrapped in silk, but one was sealed in a wooden box, bound with straw rope and paper charms. Its label read, "Fushi o mezuru," do not use inhabited. I opened it anyway. The puppet was beautiful. A woman in a red kimono, long black hair, porcelain face. But the eyes, they were glass, yet too real, moist, alive. They blinked. I slammed the box shut and backed away. But it was too late. That night, I dreamed of a stage. Lights dimmed. I stood in front of an audience, and my strings were pulled. My limbs jerked. I moved like a puppet, and in the crowd was the red puppet. She watched me with my own eyes. I woke up tangled in cords. That morning, the puppet sat in the center of my room. Its head turned to face me. I ran. I contacted an old bunraku master. When I showed him the puppet, he went silent. Then he said, "This puppet was used once, only once, by your grandfather's partner. She died on stage, but the performance continued because the puppet wouldn't stop moving. I tried to burn it, but the fire refused to touch it. The flames curved away, as if something inside it was protecting itself. The last time I saw it, it stood by my bed. It opened its mouth, and my voice came out. It's your turn now. I haven't slept since. I see strings in the corners of my vision, and sometimes I can't move my own hands. I think she's learning me, so she can perform again, this time with a better puppet." End of episode 4. Series closing narration Voller 3. Thank you for joining us for Japanese horror narration series Volant 3. We've wandered through dream-haunted rooms, echoing school towers, and the gaze of forgotten puppets. But horror doesn't always end when the story does. Sometimes it waits for silence. For the moment you think you're safe, then it whispers, "I remember you." We hope you've made it through with your thoughts intact and your reflection still yours. Until we meet again, sleep with the lights off, but never alone. Good night.